The original Kingsman was such a blast. It was one of my favorite films of 2015. The movie was based off the comic series from Dave Gibbons and Mark Millar and was directed by one of my favorite newer directors, Matthew Vaughn. The first film was an absolute joy, so I was ecstatic that they were doing a sequel, Kingsman: The Golden Circle. The movie picks up a few years after the original. There's a secret organization that wants to take over the world, so they bomb the Kingsman headquarters and wipe out their agents. Eggsy, the new recruit from the first movie, is now a full-blown agent. He has to uncover who's doing this and take them down in style. The movie was creative and lots of fun, but it never quite achieves the excellence of the original. That's not to say that it wasn't good, it's just that it wasn't as good as the first one. I like that they continued the story and expanded that universe. Things like having Eggsy dating the princess he rescued in the first movie. I liked how they joined forces with the American version of the Kingsman, and even though I'm not the biggest Channing Tatum fan, I thought he was used well here. There were plenty of callbacks to the first, which made the film all the more enjoyable to fans. The action was spectacular, with some of the most inventive fight scenes since the original. They also were not shy about the violence. There was one scene early on that made someone a few seats down from me throw up in their popcorn bag. I can't remember the last time I saw someone retch in a movie theater. There was also a character in the film who wasn't in any of the trailers that genuinely surprised me. I thought he was just going to be a cameo, but he ended up having a pretty decent amount of screen time during the last part. Julianne Moore was quite good as the mentally unstable evil kingpin Poppy. The soundtrack was also good, with some terrific choices that made the action sequences even more enjoyable. With all this good though, how could it be bad? I was asking myself that. Probably the biggest thing was, with the original, I was invested the entire time. The story flowed perfectly and I was never bored. With this, I wasn't bored, but there were some parts that just needlessly dragged. It was only about 10 minutes longer than the original, but it felt more like a half an hour. While I liked Julianne Moore's Poppy, her plot never felt as big of a threat as Samuel Jackson's in the original. It almost felt like she could have been a side villain, which she kind of was. There ended up being another threat, but still, the two combined just lacked the punch of Valentine. It was fun, and I'm happy that I saw it, but it felt more like Kingsman 1.5 than a full-blown sequel. It was well made, the action, acting, comedy, and story were all there, but it was missing that little something extra. I guess it comes down to being a good movie that unfortunately was the sequel to a great movie. Kingsman: The Golden Circle was an entertaining follow-up to the first, but it suffered from the sophomore slump. The action and the comedy were its strongest points, but it had a tendency to take itself a little too serious at times. If you're a fan of the original, there's a good chance you'll enjoy this too. You just may need to temper your expectations a bit.